Hello and welcome to The Professionals. In 1722, the law firm Boodle Hatfield first opened its doors. Over the next 300 years, the firm has helped shape London's famous West End and Mayfair. Today, the firm continues to build lasting legacies, representing some of the country's largest property owners, entrepreneurial businesses, and wealthy individuals and their families. I'm joined today by Kelly Davison, the marketing manager at Boodle Hatfield, who's kindly agreed to give us an insight into the firm's celebrations and share with us just how you prepare for such a momentous milestone. So Kelly, welcome to The Professionals.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
Kelly, I think the first question I'd love to ask, 300 years is astonishing. How do you even begin to prepare for such a milestone, given where we are with the global pandemic?
Yeah, indeed. It's such a major milestone, and one we needed to plan for and action during what was only really referred to globally as unprecedented times. And I'm sure you can imagine our 300th year anniversary has been topic of much conversation and a running item on the agenda for some time. Ahead of really the global pandemic, we were setting our considerations for the milestone, which in itself provided their own challenges, and I'm sure I'll touch on some of those later. But really, in the midst of a pandemic, it was difficult to vision what an anniversary year would or could even look like when there were so many other issues at hand. But from a business perspective, one clear factor that we could focus on is that we'd walked a number of uncertain paths since 1722, having helped clients navigate the impact of revolutions, market crashes, social upheaval, innovations in technology. And although very different challenges to the one that we had on the table, we needed to keep our sights ahead and look at how we could build on our heritage and use 2022 to create something that our successors would be proud of. And whilst we'd never hoped for COVID to outbreak, nor would we want to be subject to the uncertainty again, the last 22 months definitely provided some invaluable learning in the lead up to the 300th year and the planning for the campaign. And it's really enabled us to focus our efforts, particularly on the digital front, where we know behaviours have certainly changed, and at the attention of our steering committee in setting the agenda for this year as well.
I can imagine the collective memory of Boodle Hatfield. You have seen it at all many times over. The firm is really well known for its private clients, and it does have this fantastic sort of real estate client base and corporate client base too. And they're all very different audiences. So how do you find something that is likely to appeal to all of those people?
Yeah, no, definitely very different audiences, but they do have their similarities. Our client base is really centred around private capital, so whether that's on an individual basis in relation to property or on the interests or investments in business too. So that there are similarities with that, but that doesn't really mean one size fits all, I suppose. A key part of the planning involved us defining the what, where, why, when and who. And although that might seem simple, but to anybody that's really embarking on a marketing initiative, you'll know how important those foundations are in crafting such a campaign. And as I mentioned, I think we wanted to mark the milestone in a meaningful way. We're not wanting to appear that we're resting on our laurels, nor were we wanting to just pat ourselves on the back. And being around for 3 centuries does have its connotations, and we're wanting to use this as an opportunity to leverage those perceptions as well, particularly to new, growing and emerging markets, and turn the dial slightly, which I'm sure I'll expand on shortly. But one of the benefits really for having a 12-month period to execute this campaign enables us to devise branches to target different objectives and different audiences too. And I think probably just to mention that the milestone doesn't only address the clients, but it's also the generations of Boodle Hatfield teams that have worked really skillfully to support them too. So the staff do play a huge part in this puzzle and a key audience for this campaign.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Such a milestone can, of course, be a real double-edged sword. How do you balance that history and heritage that comes with 300 years, but yet shows Boodle Hatfield as a dynamic entrepreneurial law firm that's fit for the needs of today's clients.
Yeah, no, definitely a double-edged sword. Having a diverse client base means different attributes are important to different audiences. So, for example, we know that the Middle Eastern market holds great pleasure in saying that they're represented by a law firm with a 300-year heritage, whereas the entrepreneurial client that you mentioned is driven by fresh, innovative thinking, and the history holds less of a standing. This, again, has played into the planning phase, which really when we're defining the who, particularly and drilling down onto the details of what each of those individual audiences held close to their chests. And that said, there are values that really remain strong across the board. And that's where we've really focused our efforts when crafting kind of our all-important golden thread for the anniversary campaign. What we do know is that we're not all things to all people, but our heritage has shaped who we are today and provided us with an incredible foundation for the future. And 2022 certainly provides us with an opportunity to change those external perceptions amongst many of the kind of market commentators and the third parties that state that we're often a traditional domestic law firm and reflect that strong international focus. Rather than looking back at the firm's history, we're very much focused on the future and how we can continue to shape the firm and the benefit of the future generations, those future clients and those future communities as well.
It sounds as if it will be a really exciting campaign to watch on unfurl. From a marketer's perspective, you and your team must really be feeling the weight of responsibility of having to manage 300th anniversary. I mean, it's not something that perhaps only one firm has achieved that so far. So how do you manage that weight of expectation on yours and your team's shoulders?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the excitement and the privilege of being able to work on such a campaign definitely outweighs the pressure. Having said that, we are only a small team of 5. And as a result need to be very supportive, very collaborative, and communication is key. And that's communication back to the partnership as well, and that 300-year committee that we'd set up. And it's crucial really to ensure that everybody feels engaged and brought along on this 300-year journey too. Despite the excitement of such a milestone, we still do have our business as usual activities to contend with. And during the lead up to the launch, we had other projects of note to juggle too. So the Chamber's submissions were due back in December, pictures were coming in. So yeah, there was lots to contend with. And this is only going to continue as the year progresses. So teamwork, collaboration and support will continue to be critical throughout this period.
Yeah, you sort of forget that there is all the day-to-day things that need to be looked after as well as the anniversary. One final question for you, Kelly. We know the year is only just really getting going. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind giving us a sneaky preview of some of the things that we might expect to see from Boodle Hatfield over the next few months.
Yeah, no, certainly I can provide you with hopefully a little bit of a snippet. So we're developing a series of projects that extend and build upon the work the firm already undertakes amongst local communities, as well as helping to dismantle some of the barriers to enter into the legal profession. We've made some investment into delivering fresh insights and content for the firm's kind of core sectors. And throughout the year, we'll be delivering accessible guidance and insights into some of the pressing social and legal issues that could be from navigating the challenges of surrogacy to the responsibility of passing wealth onto the next generation. And this year really is going to consist of a programme of events and then online and offline initiatives as well that will allow us to deploy some of the technical expertise, some of our time and our passion, and really create a legacy that we hope future generations of Boodle Hatfield will be proud of.
It sounds as if it's going to be a fantastic and extremely busy year for you and for the whole firm. Kelly, we'll have to get you back maybe towards the end of 2022 to give us a bit of a report card on how it went. Thank you ever so much for joining the professionals today. It really is appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me, Matt. It's been a pleasure.